Do have a quorum. Commissioners, you do have the minutes before you. What's your pleasure?
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion carries. No presentations sent, so we'll move right into the debate.
Thanks, sir. These first three items are time sensitive, so we've asked to bring these in front of this committee versus our normal committee. So I'm gonna ask Mr. Titus Gordon to present these first three.
Morning.
Morning.
The first item is LMIG 2023 Change Order 1 with Garrick Civil Works for the High Tower Drive. Familiar with High Tower Drive, it is next to Reliable Rental in Martinez. It's in servicing. We've been working on putting together a plan. It's unique in the fact it has asphalt valley gutters that are here, but we didn't want to go gutters. We wanted to do durable, provided the industrial traffic along that route. So we've been putting together a plan for it. We reached out to CSX's consultant for their right-of-way because High Tower crosses it right-of-way. $10,000 or $12,000 to do an review for an overlay project. So I kind of, out of frustration, kind of shelved it for a little while. A few weeks ago, we were reached out to by another consultant for CSX that's doing all of their traffic control for several closings throughout the county over the next month. They can rehabilitate several crossings, one of those being High Tower Drive. To the consultant, hey, while y'all have this drive closed down, do you mind if we resurface in your right-of-way? Great, so now we can avoid both engineering review fee of $10,000 or $12,000 plus another $20-50 worth of flagging cost from CSX. So the LMIG 2023 is currently substantially completed with about $750,000 remaining. Close this project out with county management and discussed adding this to that project before we close out. We reached out to Garrick Civil Works. They provided a quote of $298,295.42. It would be funded out of original LMIG.
What did you decide about the concrete materials? You said you're going to use
We're going to
concrete.
do a concrete valley gutter instead of asphalt valley gutter. Cut out what's there.
And that timing worked out great. Second.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, sir.
Okay. The next item is Tier 2 Group 2 resurfacing change order number 4 with E.R. Snell for Faircloth, Library Drive, and Government Way. This is one of 8 or 10 resurfacing projects in the Tier 2 Group 2 contract. If you recall, when we advertised Tier 2 Group 1, it was market was very volatile. Prices were coming in extremely high, so when we got ready to advertise for Tier 2 Group 2, we cut the scope down to the absolute minimum we would need for the project. So along Faircloth Drive, we took out the parking spaces. We took out the uniform mill throughout. Now that the project, the majority of this contract's completed and they're getting ready to mobilize to Faircloth Drive, we looked at the budget, and they're currently about $1 million under budget project. So we would like to add back in the uniform milling throughout, and also mill out the parking stalls and for a better product and a more uniform look throughout. So we asked Snell for a price to do that additional work, and they quoted $127,397.60. Requested 10 additional days under that Tier 2.
Did we value engineer out the speed humps all the way across the back behind?
We are going to take out all of the speed humps and speed bumps that are currently in place. We're going to reinstall concrete speed humps or speed tables with crosswalks. They're going to be much more uniform, much more clean.
That's kind of like in front of the Maybon building over here.
Right.
Yeah, we have so many people crossing back there. There's so many people moving, and that's become a thoroughfare, really a cut through.
Yeah.
So we feel like those speed tables are gonna be more effective than the actual, and the bumps we have are not actually our new standard anyway. They're not the speed humps, they're truly bumps.
Bumps.
So the speed tables, we think, are gonna be a lot better. They're gonna be clearly marked. It'll be a lot safer for pedestrians.
And that's part of this price as well?
It will be added, those will be added after the contract.
Change order.
No, Roads and Bridges is gonna do that in-house.
Okay. Commissioner Richardson, is that? Now, they slowed me down. Thank you, Kyle. Gentlemen, do you have any other questions about this resurfacing project?
Pleasure.
Change order? Move to consent, please.
Second.
Motion carries. Thank you. We have
Thank you, Kyle.
one more item.
Yeah, Mr. Gordon's gonna talk to you about ice pigging, our favorite subject.
I
Okay.
love to talk about ice pigging. Where's Mark Inglet? He's usually the ice pigging
He's not here
expert.
this morning, but we found out over Christmas break that our normal time when we do our ice pigging, last week in February, first week in March, our company would be out, American Pipeline Solutions would be out on the West Coast, and the only time they could do it was the end of January. So we need to kind of hurry this through. If y'all would like for us to pursue that. But we have $300,000 budgeted in this year's budget for this item, and we'd like to ice pig along Evans Locks Road from Old Stevens Creek to North Bel Air. There's a 12 and 24-inch line that we'd like to clean, preparation for the high flows that summer. And also there's an 8 and a 10-inch line on Hereford Farm Road we'd like to ice pig. Their price to do this work is $292,353, and staff recommends approval of ice pigging for American Pipeline Solutions.
This is the only company in the whole,
They have all the patents on the equipment, so
Yeah.
unless somebody else goes and gets the patents, they purchased it all from Suez, who originally had it. So yeah, they're the only ones in the U.S. that does it.
could we buy the equipment and do it ourselves?
We had looked at that in the past when Suez was selling it, and we chose not to do that at that time. That is a possibility,
Is the equipment very expensive?
Very.
in the millions of dollars.
And they come out here about once a year?
Once a year.
And they do this general same area?
We
do different
kind of
places.
move it around. Ice pigging can only do smaller lines, 24 inches, about as large as you can go.
Yeah.
We're also looking at pigging our larger lines, leaving the plant, but that would be in a new budget. Kind of preparing to get set up for that also.
As the lines age, do you see us doing this, calling them to come do it more?
Yeah, the American Waterworks Association recommends we do it every 5 years for each line, each individual line. So yes, we become an older system, we have to do it more.
I know we've been investing a lot in the UV system to purify the water into the system. Manganese builds up in the lines. It's not harmful, but complain about the white towels turning brown because are there any solutions to that, or is it just what it is?
Pigging's probably the least expensive.
Right, you're just
solution.
knocking it through, but I mean, is there another system that we can?
We could go to membrane filtration, which would eliminate that, but you're talking over $100 million to upgrade.
Put it on my Christmas list.
The UV
Maybe
system,
Santa Claus will bring it.
what about the UV system?
The UV system should oxidize and improve it, but it's not going to solve the problem. The hydroxyl radicals are more, the better oxidant than chlorine. It takes chlorine much longer, so it usually oxidizes and drops out in our pipelines, mainly in the winter, especially when the water's moving slow, 32 million gallons. So in our large lines is where we really have a problem, so that's the one reason. Next year's budget, but this should hopefully help some of it oxidize and drop out in our clear wells and improve what's leaving the plant. Obviously, we didn't plan on that. That's not the reason we did the UV project. It was more for tasting and other issues. Theoretically, it should be interesting to see.
Can you only do the ice in cold weather?
The reason we do it in cold weather is we have to shut down the lines. And when the summer comes around, we just can't afford to shut down lines because we have so much demand. I like to do it over winter time.
Move to consent.
Second.
Motion
Hold on,
carries.
quick,
Thank
so-
you, sir.
So while you're standing there, where do we stand on the UV project?
UV project, there's still, one for, February is our date. They're
February,
paving.
28 days in February.
Also,
Talking about February 28th?
Just say the 20th.
I'm looking for
February
Just say that.
specifics.
we have our meeting next week, so I'll get an update then.
Okay, cool.
Since our last meeting, it was the end of February. I went out Friday and they were not moving very fast. I don't know if they just had a slow crew out and they're working. They had a few guys out there working. They're wrapping it up. I mean, all the equipment's installed, ready to go, getting the paving so we can access it all. Start up.
In the loop, please.
All right, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, bud.
We do have an item under planning services. I'd like to recognize Mr. Jerry Brooks is here with us. If we have any questions, he didn't. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Go ahead, sir.
All right, we have an ancillary dwelling variance at 505 Walton's Ford Court. Property's 2.1 acres and zoned R1. What they'd like to do is for an ancillary dwelling that has approximately 3,000 square feet under roof at that location. Their daughter. Keep in mind as we measure ancillary dwellings, it's under roof, not the actual living space, which is 1,300 square feet of that, 3,000 total. So primary residence, a little over 4,000 square feet in size, and the location of the proposed ancillary dwelling on the property, staff has reviewed it, all the standards. Otherwise, square footage, so staff is recommending approval. 1,800 square feet.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Item carries. We'll move right along to the next item, would be legal matters.
No legal matters today.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to the staff reports, please.
All right, first up for your information is the December 23 Planning Department workload report. And as December would be the year-end report.
Full year in this.
That's correct.
Questions?
I think it's in Hebrew. No, it's right.
All right.
Okay.
Report, sir.
And the other one is the November 23 plan review work load measurement monthly report, and that's the information I have.
No questions.
Questions, Doug?
No, sir.
All right, let's move on to monthly reports.
All right, first one we have is the December 22-23 Developed Summer Services Report, and a copy of that is attached for your information. No further action is needed. These sort of things finished off the calendar year, our division.
104 residential permits.
About 28 below what we could. Yeah, we're about 28% below where we were last year.
Right, but running on a, like the last 10, 15 years, been building 1,000 houses a year. I realize this is not building, they're permits. Definitely see the effect of the interest rate.
Questions? Next report, sir.
Next one we have is the financial report for development services. Copy of that's attached for your information. No further action is required.
Questions?
All right, the last one I have is temporary event alcohol permits, and a copy of that is attached for your information on that.
Questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any comments of commissioners or public comments? Nothing for executive session. That being said, we'll adjourn at 8:55. Thank you.
Go Blue.